write a program to count the number of characters in a string. पहली चीज like characters in a string. The first thing that see this question can be asked in an interview also. Okay. So now simply suppose let's say you have a string. Let's say you're taking string as input from the user. Okay. Instead of hard coding, we will take input. Enter a string. Now, simple, straightforward count characters using len function. Okay. Number of characters is equal to len of s, as simple as that. And then you can do print NOC. But suppose, let's say, then this is this question. Okay, so you can see, suppose I am writing here, let's say, let us say, okay, let us say, so 10. Okay, now suppose let's say the question is without using the len function. You don't have to use the len function. So in that case, what we can do is we'll take the input. Okay. Now we know if I run a code for element in S. Now, because some of you might be thinking that yesterday I was doing one thing. Like in some cases I was using I variable. Okay. In some cases I was using name variable, like here for name in L. Okay. Then some X variable or something. Okay. So whenever you're creating variables, so your variable should ideally make sense. It is not a rule as such. Okay, but it is an understood thing. Reason being, see, right now you're writing a small code, so that is not a big deal. Okay, but what happens in like real life scenario in the industry, whenever you're working on some kind of code, so there will be literally hundreds of variables. Okay, there could be 300, 400 variables depending on what you're building, obviously. Okay, or how optimized your code is, but there can be n number of variables. Okay, and it becomes difficult to remember the variables over time. This is suppose let's say I'm creating the s variable here. So I won't remember what exactly the s variable stands for. What kind of data I am storing inside the s variable. I will have to again like scroll back up again and again just to see if I'm using which variable I'm using for that particular task. Suppose let's say I'm storing mathematics marks in a particular variable. So if I simply write maths, so that can mean anything. It can mean the total marks in mathematics. It can mean my marks in mathematics. It can mean the grade value of mathematics. Okay, it can mean the credits of mathematics. It can mean anything. So whenever you're creating a variable, try to create a variable. Try to make it a habit right from the starting. Okay, that the variable, by looking at the variable itself, you should be able to understand what the variable represents. Are you getting this, everyone, class? And when we write na s equal to this a, b, c, d, x equal to or p equal to whatever, so these variables are just general variables. Okay, by general variable I mean that key these are temporary variables. So whenever we create temporary variables, we usually take characters, single characters, a equal to, b equal to, c equal to, d equal to, depending on what you are doing. But when you're creating actual variables, which we are going to use at multiple locations in the entire code, so try to create a variable which makes sense. For example, here NOC, instead of NOC, what we do in the industry, we write number of characters like this. So this is how we will be creating the variables. Getting this, everyone, class? Okay. Now coming back here. So here, this is also a loop variable, right? For LE. Okay. So why I'm writing LE? Because I'm taking the elements of the string one by one. So for LE in S, now if I write print LE, so what will happen? Suppose I am entering a string, this only. So see, you can see latest day. So what it is doing class, one by one, step by step. S is this latest day. Okay. So for LE, so it will take LE initially will be, it will take the first, whatever collection you have given here, it will take the data from there, from the collection. So LE, it will take L first and then it will print L. Then it will take E, then print E. Then it will take T, print T. Then it will take space. Space is also a character. Everything that is present on keyboard is a character. It will take space, it will print space, and so on. Okay, so this is pretty straightforward. But now I want to count the number of characters. So how I can do that? I will take a variable C, or let's say count, and I will give that variable value as 0. And in every iteration of the loop, iteration means every repetition, whenever loop, like here, the loop is running what, 10 number of times, right? So that means we can say there are 10 iterations in the loop total. Okay, what we can do now, I can write here count is equal to count plus 1. Now let me, and here at the end we will write print count outside the loop. Now let me show you class. Let us try run this code. What will happen? There is LE, there is count. Write down all the variables. There is LE and there is print statement. Okay. So initially count value is 0, right? Then for loop will start. So in the starting, LE value will be what? It will take L. Okay. This is L. I'm just writing in capital so that you will understand. Okay. That is L is there. So it will print L obviously. Now, as soon as it prints L, what will happen? Understand plus. I'm showing you line by line. First, the code will come here. Count equal to 0. So you can see it is 0. Right? Then the code will come here for LE in S. So the LE value will become L. This is L. I'm just writing in capital for now. Then it will come to line number 5. So it will print L. Right? Then it will come to line number 6. So what is the current value of count? Current value of count is 0 now. So count value will be incremented by 1. What you can do, you can either write this or you can write this also. Count is equal to count plus equal to 1. I think if you remember, I covered this in assignment operative. Okay. Now class, what I will do, then after this, after implementing this, it will go back. It will go back to line number 4. Okay, and then it will now LE will take which value? It will take E. Okay, then it will print E. Then it will increment the value to 2. Then it will again go back T. Then it will take space. Sorry, count value will become 3. Then it will take space. It will print space. Then 4. It will. Are you getting this class, everyone? Are you getting how the code is working? Each one of you. Perfect. Okay, so it will keep on incrementing the count value till the very end. Okay, so at some point the count value will become 10. Okay, at the end. So as soon as the count value goes to the end, the last value, whichever the last value is what? Y. Okay, so in that case, it will come out of the for loop and then it will print the count on the screen. So if I run this code, let us say. So you can see it is showing 10 at the end. Okay. Suppose if you just want to count, you don't want to print, just comment it out for now. Or you can remove that line also from the code. Got this class, everyone? It won't print now again and again. It will count, but it will not print the value on the screen. Okay. Now, let me show you one more thing here. Using conditional statements inside loop. Okay. Suppose it is saying write a program to count the number of characters. Okay, and here I'm saying ignore white spaces. We want to ignore the white spaces. So what we will do in that case, class, we'll follow the same code. Count equal to 0 for LE in S. But here it is saying it wants us to ignore the white spaces, right? So I will write a condition here. If LE is not equal to space, okay, and then I will write here count is equal to count plus 1. Are you getting this, class? This particular counting will only happen if the element is not a space. Are you getting this, class? I have written not equal to. So it will count only when it is not a space. For loop will run 10 times. Let me show you. Loop counter. That is also 0. Okay. And I will put one more counter here, loop counter outside the if statement. Loop counter is loop counter plus equal to 1. So at the end, print loop count is equal to loop counter, print number of non-space characters, comma, count. Okay. Suppose I write here, let us say, okay, so you can see the total number of loop count is 10 only. Loop count is 10 only. Why? Because loop is running 10 times. But the actual characters, it is counting when it is not a space. Are you getting this, class, everyone? Are you able to understand the code or not? Class, let me dry run the code. There is count. There is loop count. There is LE. There is if condition. So these 4 things are there. Initial value of count and loop count is 0. Right? Now what will happen? Let me write these 2 things here. Okay. So now what is the value of LE? First time L. Now if condition will be true or false. If condition will be true or false. Plus it will be true, right? True. So it will increment the count loop counter. एक काम करते हैं, wait. it will increment the loop. Loop counter is there, so loop counter will go 1. Okay, since the condition is true. Wait a sec. Sorry, I'm writing it in sequence so that you will understand better. Loop counter will go 1. अरे यार. This is a sequence. Now, what will the condition? Condition will be true. So will it increment the count? Yes. Then next value will be E. Loop counter will become 2. Condition will be again true. So count will become 2. The next value will be T. Loop counter. See, I am running the code in sequence. So loop counter will become 3. Condition will be true. Count will become 3. Now see, next will be space, right? Next is space. So loop counter will become 4, but condition will be false, right? Getting this class, everyone? Condition will be false. Since the condition is false, so will it increment the count? No, no. Exactly, because it won't go inside the loop, inside the if condition. Then it will go U. Loop counter will become 5. Condition will be true again. And then it will increment the count value to 4. Got this, everyone, class? Then S. 6. Condition will be true. Count value will become 5. Then again space. This will become 7. Condition will be false. So it won't increment count. Then D. 8. True. 6. A. 9. Condition will be true. 7. Y. 10. Condition will be true. 8. No, no, no. LC for L will be 1 now. See, outside the loop it will be 0. Outside the loop will be 0. Right? But as soon as it reads LE, as soon as LE becomes L, so LC will become 1 na? Actually, I wrote this in a different sequence here. Okay, I'm writing this in a different sequence. Understand this, Ranjit. Initially, outside the loop, LC value is 0. Got it right. Perfect. Clear class, everyone? No, because I don't want to skip and continue. No, I want to read the entire loop. I want to read the entire loop. That is why I have not mentioned skip or continue or anything else. Okay, I want to ignore white spaces. So that is why I've mentioned here. It will, if it is, see, it will count completely end to end. But I have asked it to skip. Okay, it is not directly a skip, but I have asked it to skip when it is a space. Remember, class, those who are coming from non-technical background, I would suggest one thing, that always dry run your code. If you're using for loops, dry run is an excellent way to understand the code, right? Dry running the code is an excellent way to understand the code. All of you understand getting this or not? Okay. So whenever you write a code, always dry run the starting. It will help you to understand how the loop is running end to end, each and every point in the code. Okay, let us take more examples, class. Give me a minute. Suppose let's take a question. Write a program. Write a program. Count the number of digits in different number of digits in different numbers stored in a list. Let's say. Suppose class we have a list with us. Okay, and I'm storing some numbers here. Let's say 756, 9512, 8787, 863012, 7456. Okay, so these are some numbers I have stored in a list. Now I want to count all of them one by one. So what I can do, I will simply write a for loop. I will take the number one by one. For num in L. For number in L. Okay, basically for num in L. Okay. If I simply write print num, should will print all the numbers, right? So see, in order to count the number of digits, we first need to access the numbers individually. Obviously, you need, if you want to count individually that how many digits are there in each number, so you need first to access the numbers, right? Class. Well, I don't like, most of you are not responding today. What is like, is everything fine? Or like what? It is Sunday, so you are on what? Different mode today. Okay. So now obviously we first need to access the numbers. First we need to access the numbers. So we have already done that. Okay, we are able to access the numbers. Now we have to count the number of digits. Now we can do two things here. Either I can use another for loop. We need two loops in this case. How? First loop will be used to access the individual numbers. जैसे मान लो, suppose let's say you want to count the number of students in each class in a school. So there will be two loops. Now, first loop will control the class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4, class 5, class 6 till class 10. Okay, or class 12, whatever. So first loop will control the different classes. Okay, and second loop, or I would say the inner loop, will control the number of students in each class. Are you getting this, class, everyone? There will be two loops. First loop will control different classes. Second loop will control different students in a particular class. Nested loop, exactly. I will show you, don't worry, those are not getting, I will show you here also. So here the first loop is controlling the numbers. Second loop, okay, will control the number of digits in every number. Count of digits in every number. Either I can use two loops or I can directly use the len function. Okay, I'm just showing you with the len function for now. And then we will replace the len function with the actual loop. What I will do, print num and simply write len of num. But there is a problem, class. Suppose let's say we have variable x equal to 756. Okay. So if I write here len of x, it will not work. Why? Because x is an integer here currently, and we cannot calculate it. We cannot calculate length of an integer. So can anyone tell me what can we do here? If you want to calculate the length, if you want to calculate how many digits are there in this number, how can you do that? Excellent. We can typecast to string and then we can check, because len function will work on a string. So if I write here len of str of x, so you can see it is working. Similarly, I can write here len str of num. Let me introduce some. Got this class now? All of you got the code or not? Now this is without using the for loop. This is now without using the for loop. Now I will show you with using the for loop. What we'll do, plus I'm writing the code in a different manner. Okay. See, when do we use loops? We use loops when we want to do the same task multiple times, right? We use loops when we want to implement a particular task multiple times or similar task multiple times. Now, first don't write the code to implement the task multiple times. First, do one thing always, since you're starting, write the code to implement the task one time. So what I will do, I will take a variable x, or I will take num variable, and inside the num variable, I will write L of 0. So I have stored the first element of the list inside the num variable. So if I write here print num, it will show 756. Okay. Or one more thing I can do is str. Okay. Since we want to count the digits. Now what I will do, I will write the code to count the number of digits in the single number only, 756. I won't care about other numbers in the list. I'm just caring about the first number 756. Okay, now I will count equal to 0. Same way we counted earlier. So right now num is present in string format. Okay, so this will become for because we are accessing the digit one by one. For digit in num, count plus equal to 1. Print count. See, it is giving us 3. Are all of you getting the code or not? I have written the code just for the first variable, first number 756. I have not written the code for other numbers. This code is without using the len function. This code is without using the len function. If you use a len function, then in that case, it will directly this len of num. That's it. Okay. So without using the len function, instead of using the len function, I have written this code. Is every one of you getting this code or not? This we have done just for the first number. Now, what I want to do, I want to implement this code for all the numbers. So first, what I will do, so it won't confuse. Now, since the number is, Sindhu, just a minute. Since the number is changing again and again, since the num value is changing again and again, first is 8756, then 9512, 87, and so on. So what I will do, I will put this thing in, I will put a tab here. I will select all these 4, put a tab, and here I will use for, and for num in L. Done. Are you getting this code now, class? See the inner code. Try to understand, class. This part of the code is doing what? Is counting the number of digits in a particular number. Here I was taking only the first number from the list. Okay. Here I am taking multiple numbers from the list, one by one. I will have to add one more thing, just one more thing I will have to add. Num is equal to str of num. Got this, class, everyone? Are you getting this or not? This code is basically being used to count the number of digits in a single number. Okay. So the inner for loop, I would say this inner for loop, okay, is controlling what? Is controlling the number of digits in a particular number. It is counting the number of digits in a particular number. But the outer for loop is controlling what? Is changing the number one by one. Mahesh, you cannot write in caps. Python is a case sensitive language. Python is a case sensitive language. So if something is in lowercase, you have to mention it in lowercase. All of you got this flow code or not, class? This is basically your nested for loop. Okay, nested basically means because there is a for loop inside a for loop. That is why nested for loop. Jayavardhana, you're using range, it will become a lot complex. Plus, tell me, do you want me to explain using range? Same thing. If you are comfortable with this code completely, then only I will go to range. Because using range, it will. No, there is no condition now. Amar, understand this. We put a condition when we want to do something at a particular time. But here there is no condition now because we want to do everything every time. That is a different question then, yes. Only when the last character, like you can put something there. I will come to that also. Just let me try run the code. So, there is num variable. Okay, right now assuming class. Right now I am assuming that will be typecasted to string. So I won't write this. There is count variable. There is digit variable. and there is print statement. Okay. Initially, the value of num will be what? 756, right? So the count variable will become 0, right? Then it will come to the inner loop. Okay, it will come to the inner loop now. Line number 6. What will be the value of digit now? Digit is running on num. So num is 756. So what will be the first value of digit? First value of digit I am asking. 7, no? Plus, but digit in num. So digit data is coming from num variable, right? So it will be 7. Count will be incremented to 1. It will not print right now. Okay, I am currently in the inner loop. Okay, remember class, this print statement is part of the inner loop or the outer loop? Print statement is part of the inner loop or the outer loop? Outer loop, right? Perfect. No, Sudhar, we cannot use integers as variables. Then there won't be any printing. Next digit will be what? 5. So it will count 2. Then next will be 6. So it will count 3. Now the inner loop is complete, right? Here the inner loop is complete, right, class? So as soon as the inner loop gets completed, what it will do? It will go to the print statement. It will print 3 because the last value is 3. Then it will come to the outer loop. It will take the next number 9512. Okay. Now, what will happen after this? Tell me, please. It has gone to the outer loop. It has changed the num value to 9512. Now, what will be the next thing? What will happen now? It will change the count value to 0 again. Are you getting this, class, everyone? Count will be 0 again, right? Counting will start from 0 again. Then it will go to the inner loop. Inner loop, what will be the first digit? 9. Count value will be 1. Then 5. Then 2. Then 1. Then 3. Then 2. Then 4. It will print 4, right? Then it will go to the outer loop. It will take 87. And now what will happen, class? Count will become 0 again. Excellent. It will take the first number 8. Increment the count value to 1. Then 7. 2. And so on. All of you got this or not, class? Okay. Now let me quickly take doubts. I am getting this. That is why I'm asking. See, I'm explaining in both ways, okay, so that you can understand it in a better manner. Okay, like Harish has written the code. You can do one more thing. You can write the number also. Num, comma, So it will give you like this. If the interviewer asks you to use only one for loop, then this code will be there, no? You can use the len function then. If the interviewer says that use one loop and don't use len function, then it is not possible. Without using len function and without using loop, it is not possible. Now you have to typecast to string. Now understand this. Here you're running a for loop. Okay, and for loop basically runs on what? Shashank. There's a condition. There is something required for loop. What is that? For loop basically runs on a collection, no? So if you don't typecast, understand this. If you don't write this code, this line, so what will happen? Num will be integer. So can you run a for loop on integer? Integer is not collection, no? Integer is not a collection. Are you getting this, Shashank, or not? In case of string, for loop is taking each alphabet. In case of list, it take each element. Obviously, that is the same thing, na? Right, Nitin? See, what happens in case of string, it will take the characters one by one, or you can say elements of a string or a character of a string. In similar manner, in list also, it is taking the elements of a list one by one. Yes, so suppose you have a string with you, s equal to hello. The indexing that thing element 0, element 2 that you have written, that thing works in case of string also, no? See, s0 will give me h. Got this, Nitin? We cannot use integers as variables. No, Zar, we cannot use integers as variables. So, okay. Mahesh, is your code working now? You're getting the error, no? And that is not 1, that is L. We were using loop, count, and count. Just these are called as counter variables class. Okay, these are, see, when we use variables, so depending on what exactly the variables are doing, okay, we call them as, we name them different things. These are called as counter variables because these variables are being used for counting. Okay, so here I'm using count variable because I want to count. Similarly, I'm using count here also. Here I use loop counter because I wanted to show you that, okay, this count and this loop counter are two different things. Loop counter will work 10 times. See, loop counter is going till 10. Okay, but the count variable is going till 8 only. Because loop will work 10 times, but the count value will only get incremented if the if condition is true. Actual count and without space count. Actual count is 10, okay, and without space it is 8. No, it is not an inbuilt variable. There is nothing called as inbuilt variable. In Python, wait a sec. In Python, there are no inbuilt variables. Got this class? I have taken, see, I have defined na count equal to 0. I'm defining it from my end. You can keep it anything. You can take Zuzar equal to 0, totally up to you. That is just a variable. Got this class, everyone, till here or not? Are now all of you comfortable with a loop? How to fetch second last character in a given string. Let's say this is a string s minus 2. ch equal to s of minus 2. बस हो गया. Chaitanya, even instead of loop counter, shall we use L counter? So Ranjit, you can, that is just a variable. Totally up to you. But remember, if you use L counter, then you have to use L counter everywhere. See, it will work still, it will still work. Okay, class. So I think we are done with loops, for loop basically. Okay, let's move further now. Okay, don't worry. Over the course, now we will be working on multiple other examples of other examples also, because loop statements and conditional statements you are going to use everywhere. You cannot write a code. You can, but in most of the scenarios you will be using loop statements and this one, your conditional statements. Okay. Now, class, next thing that you have to cover is your while loop statement. Okay. Now, what happens in case of while loop? Remember, class, remember the difference between for loop and while loop? Anyone? In case of for loop, yes, we have particular range. Okay. In case of for loop, what we do basically, we know how many times a particular task needs to be done. In case of while loop, okay, it basically runs till the until the condition is true. Okay, let me show you. First, the syntax. What happens in case of while loop? We write while followed by a condition and then tasks. Whatever tasks you want to implement. Okay, that is your while loop. Let us see. Suppose wait. Okay, I'm explaining this using for loop first. Okay, suppose let's say you have a question, write a program to print the count of numbers. Write a program to print the count of, sorry, write a program to print numbers from 1 till 10. Okay. So normally for loop, what I will do for I in range from 1 till 11, print I. I hope all of you got this code. Just to make it shorter, I am just writing till 5. Okay, all of you got this code. Now same thing, class, same question I will do using while loop. How? In the while loop, there will be something called as initializer. Okay, there is something called as initializer. I will initialize, let's say I will take the I with 0. This is called as initialization. Okay. Now I will write while. Tell me, class, we want to print the numbers till when? Till 5, na? And starting from 1. So I will write here while I less than equal to 5, or you can also write I less than 6. Or I'm writing equal to 5 for now so that you will understand better. Colon and then print I. Now tell me what will happen. What will be the output of this code? See, focus on one thing, class. Notice this box. As soon as I run this code, see it is printing 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. Okay, and my computer got hanged. See it is printing 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 till infinity. It is infinite loop. It will keep on running 1. Okay, it is showing star. So I will have to forcefully stop the code. Java. Okay, see, it is like my computer got hanged. So I will just restart quickly. It won't. Okay. So this become class. This what happened here just now. I will explain. Just a minute. Okay. What will happen now? No? What happened? Actually, let's understand the code. Initially, I was 1. There is I. There is while condition. Okay. And then there is print I. Okay. Now class. Initially, I value is 1 now. So while condition is true, so it will print 1. Now what will happen, class? Next time the loop runs, what will happen? The code will come again back here. What will be the value of I now? I will remain same now. I will not become 2. Okay, this is not for loop. Remember, class, this is not for loop. I value is not getting incremented here automatically. I am not incrementing the I value anywhere. So I will still remain 1. While condition will remain true, will become true, and it will print 1. Still 1, again true, again 1. And this will keep on, it will keep on incrementing till, it will keep on happening till infinity. Because I will always remain 1. So what we need to do, class? We need to introduce a particular line. Here I will write I plus equal to 1. So what I am doing here, I am incrementing the value of I by 1. So let's try run the code first. Initially I value will be 1. Condition will be true. It will print I, print 1. Now what will happen? The value of I will become 2. Condition will be true. It will print 2. Then I value will become 3. Condition will be true. It will print 3. I will become 4. Condition will be true. It will print 4. Then I value will become 5. Not only the condition will be true or false. Condition will be true. So since the condition is true, it will print 5. It will print 5 and it will increment the I value to 6. Now tell me, will the condition now will be true or false? Now the condition will be false. So as soon as the condition will become false, the control will come out of the while loop. This is how while loop basically works. Okay. As soon as the condition becomes false, the control will come out of the for loop. Remember, class, the loop will only work when the condition is true. As long as the condition is true, the loop will keep on running. Okay, be it one time, be it infinite number of times, but the loop will keep on running if the condition is true. That is what happens in case of while loop. Is it clear, everyone, or not? So see the output 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Vijay, you can go to view, and here there will be an option called as toggle line numbers. So you will be able to show this row, see this row numbers. Yes. While loop is similar in all the languages. In C++ also, Java also, C also. For loop in Python is different. Sure. Let us see what Zuzar suggested. If I write here I plus equal to 2, so class, what will happen? Tell me. I will be 1 initially, condition will be true, it will print 1. Then I will become what? I will become 3, na? So it will increment by 2. Condition will be true, it will print 3. Now I value will become 5. Condition will be true, it will print 5. I value will become 7. Condition will be false. Got this now, Sudhar? Okay, I was saying something earlier, I forgot. Okay, let me give you some examples now. While on the while loop, loop, to all of you understood, right? All of you understood what while loop does, right? Now I will show you some examples of while loop, how basically we use while loop in real life. Okay. Suppose, let's say I want to write a code, write a program to print the squares of numbers. Okay. Keep on printing till the user says no. Okay. All of you understood the question? I have to print the squares of numbers starting from 1. Okay, I will print, and every time I will ask, you want to continue, you want to continue, you want to continue, you want to continue. So user will keep on saying yes, but as soon as the user will say no, I have to stop. All of you got the question? No, that is I'm going to show you, Sindhu. Incrementing no, increment इसमें तो चाहिए होगा. Increment increment is not necessary in every scenario. I will show you some examples, Sindhu, for that. Okay. It depends on the requirement. Right now, what example I'm showing you, see this example that I showed you earlier, this one, this could be written using for loop and while loop, both of them. Whatever code, class remember, whatever codes, write down, all the for loop codes can be implemented using while loop. But vice versa is not true for every scenario. Got that? All of you got this or not? Okay. So let me write the code. Number starting from 1. Right? Now, here it is saying keep on printing till the user says no. So right now, I will assume that the user is saying yes. Okay. Now I will write while user equal to yes. If the value of user is yes, then I will keep on printing. Okay. Keep on printing as long as the user says yes. This is the question. I have to print the squares. So I will write a print num power 2. Now class, what we will do? We'll increment the value of num by 1. Now we will ask the user. जैसे मान लो, suppose let's say Vijay is there, I am there. So Vijay is calculating the square. Okay, but every time he will ask me. Okay, we can do this exercise once. Okay, Vijay, you understood, right? What I'm saying? Okay, every time you will ask me. Okay, I am the user. Okay, you are the Python code. You will ask me every time. You can start now from the number 1. So Vijay will tell the square of number 1. Okay, and every time he will ask me, Vijay, are you there? Anyone here who understood the what I am doing? Akhil, you understood, right? So Akhil, I'm just I'm like you can unmute yourself and ask me. Just we can do this once so that all the participants will understand. Can you unmute, Akhil?
Yes.
So start with number 1. You have to say the square and you have to ask me again and again.
Okay.
This is what we will be doing. Akhil,
Yes. Yes.
start now.
Okay. Yes.
Achha, let me do. You say yes or no. Okay.
Oh.
So first number is square of number 1 is 1. Okay. Do you want to continue?
Yes.
Next square of number 2 is 4. Do you want to continue?
Yes.
Square of 3 is 9. Do you want to continue?
Yes.
Square of 4 is 16. Do you want to continue?
No.
So as soon as Akhil said no, I will stop now. All of you got the exercise. All of you understood what we are implementing. As soon as Akhil said no, I will not continue calculating the squares. Getting this, everyone, or not? Okay. And here you can write also the square of num is num power 2. Okay, so the square of 1 is 1. Do you want to continue? Yes. The square of 2 is 4. Yes. The square of 3 is 9. Yes. The square of 4 is 16. Why it is continuing? What happened? Just a minute. Wait. I made some mistake here. Wait. Acha, variable will be user, na? sorry. Yes, yes, yes. Do you want to continue? So you can see the code stopped now. We have see the user variable got updated now. Let me try run this code now. Okay. What will happen here? There is while condition. There is num. There is user. Okay. And there is print. Okay. So initially the value of num is 1. The value of user is y. So while condition will be true now in the starting. For the first time, remember class, you have to make sure that for the first time your condition should be true, because you have to go inside the while loop. Only then the code will start. Na? First you have to go inside the while loop. So make sure that a condition should be true at least one time. Okay, true, and then it will print. It will print what? 1 ka square. 1 it will print. Right? Then it will increment the value of num to 2. Then it will ask the user. Okay, then the user said yes. I will do that, user. Just wait a minute. I have not covered that yet. Na? So I will do it. Now the current value of user is y. Na? So it is condition will be true. So it will print 2, 4. Num will become 3. User says yes. Okay, I am implementing this class. What I did now, I'm try running that on. And it will give 3, 9. Now it will become 4. Okay, as soon as it becomes 4, I give no, right? So now this condition will be true or false? False. So it will not continue any further. All of you got this or not? Class. Perfect. Okay, there is one thing, class. One small thing. Just what Zar mentioned earlier. No? I'm just covering that quickly. Suppose let's say I'm saying there is s is equal to yes. Okay. Or I'm taking some input from the user. Let's say I'm taking some input. Enter something. Okay. Now let it print SL is equal to as dot lower. So as dot lower will do what, class? It will convert everything to lowercase. So S will remain same, but SL will be lowercase. Just say I am writing. Just are you getting this, class? Got converted to lowercase now, right? Suppose I enter something. See, got this? All of you got this now, lower. Similarly, there is something called as upper. See, got that? So now what I can do is here now just see user can enter capital Y, capital N also now. Just to be on the lower safer side, I will write here user dot lower. Whatever the user enters, I will convert it into lowercase and then compare with small y. Even if the user enters capital Y here, even if the user is capital Y, so I am comparing what? I am comparing the lowercase version of the user. Are you getting this, class? Whatever the user entered, I am comparing the lowercase version of that with small y. Got this? To be on a safer side. Or you could have written like this also. Equal to y, or user equal to capital Y. Got this also, class? Any one of the conditions should be true in this case. Vijay, debugger option, you're using Jupyter Notebook, Vijay? See, in Jupyter Notebook, if you're using this version, that version that I am using, so yeah, debugger option is not there in this version. I saw, I guess, debugger option is available in new versions, I think. Okay, but debugger essentially is available in other software, such as your PyCharm, you will find debugger. Visual Studio Code, you will find debugger. But in Jupyter's notebook, debugger is not there. Clear class till here, everyone? Shall I proceed? Also, tell me, class, can you implement this code using for loop? Can you implement this code using for loop, class? No. Why no? The reason being because we don't know now how many times the code is going to run. Tell me, Priyank, Suzar, those who are saying yes, do you know how many times the user is going to say yes? Tell me, Priyank, Suzar. You can apply if else, you can apply multiple things. How will you define infinite, sir, in for loop? There is nothing called as infinite in Python. In core Python, infinity is not there. You will run a for loop for infinite times. Then how will you stop the while loop? How will you stop the for loop then? Are you getting the problem? If you run a for loop for infinite times, let's say, for the sake of discussion, that infinity is possible in core Python. Okay, and you run the for loop infinite times. Okay, so in that case, how will you stop the for loop then? That is a break. I have not covered break yet, no? Exactly. There should be some kind of condition to exit the loop, right? There should be some condition which will make the loop exit. That is not possible in case of for loop. First thing. Second, that is the second thing. First thing is that in the first instance itself, you won't be able to write the infinite for loop because it is not possible in Python. In C, C++, I'm not sure about Java. Okay, but in C++, I know C++ and Python. Okay, so in C++, you can create an infinite for loop. Okay, but in Python, you cannot do that. You cannot create an infinite for loop in Python. Okay, so you don't know how many times you want to run the for loop for. Yes, Sindhu. The while loop will become infinite if the user input is not taken. Yes. In this particular case, yes. Exactly. We use while loop when we don't know how many times a particular code. Ajay, again, I am saying, I said this earlier also. It is not like better. Remember, I explained yesterday that plane and train example. You cannot say now that flight is the best mode of transport. It is about the use case exactly. Where you what you want to perform exactly. Like in this example that I gave you the last example, this continue thing we want to continue. So in this case cannot be implemented using for loop. There is no way at all to implement this using for loop. So in this case you have to use while loop. No, you have to choose now according to requirement. You have to choose it. Okay, see, Imran, I cannot give you any rule book as of now. There is no rule book that okay, no, this is going to be the best uh, thing to use. Okay, depending on the requirement. Okay, there is no rule book. Okay, you will understand this by like experience when you write multiple codes. So you will see in the starting now while you're practicing class, I will give you when I will give you assignment also. Try to practice one thing. Uh, Whenever you're writing some code now using loop, so try to implement both the codes, both the loops, while loop also, for loop also. In some cases, obviously you won't be able to, okay, but wherever possible, try to implement the question using both the codes. So you will over time you will understand. Okay, this code is better suited in while loop. This code is better suited in for loop. Right.